What's going on, YouTube? Jimmy here. As you can see, got a new toy, well, a new used toy. I have here a 2016 Can Am Outlander XT 1000. So I'm going to go into a little bit of, my own personal thoughts after having this vehicle for a few days, and I rode it for a long time, right, on some trails, several hours. I'm going to give you my honest review of it and tell you what I like about it and what I hate about it. So first, let's start with what I hate about it, right? It is extremely hard to get into gear. When you shift gears, and I've lubricated the Heim joints in there, like the connecting rod, it's hard to get in and out of gear. I've serviced the transmission, put new lubricant in it, and serviced the primary clutches, and cleaned basically the pulleys and the primary bearing. I greased it. It was spinning freely, and it's still extremely hard to get in and out of gear. It kind of wants to jump. That's one thing that I do not like about this quad. The second thing is the Visco Lock. The Visco Lock is basically a front limited slip, right, where it locks itself into all-wheel drive as needed. So as you know, or maybe you don't, a Polaris has what's called on-demand all-wheel drive. So basically, whenever you put it in on-demand all-wheel drive, when it senses a wheel slip, it locks both front wheels together, making it all-wheel drive. That's not the case with this Can Am. Now, I know some of the newer ones, I think they have like a manual locker, but the reason I'm saying this is because my wife and I had it out on a trail a few days ago, and basically what happened was I was on a hill and there was a bank, kind of like a drop off, right? So the left front wheel didn't have the best traction. It was almost off the ground. And when I went to go in four-wheel drive, right, because we started spinning on the back and the back kind of slid down the hill, we went to go, and all the power was going to the front right wheel, which basically caused the ATV, when I would go, it would kind of pull up and it was sliding down the hill a little bit. So basically I kept trying to do that. It just kept sliding more and more down the hill because I couldn't lock both front wheels. So basically by the time this one started spinning and the other one kicked in, it had spun all the traction out from under itself because it's very powerful. So that being said, that's the second thing I don't like other than the shifter. The third thing is just probably going to be the noisy drivetrain. I know it comes with the territory and all the power you're putting to the ground, so it does whine a lot and it rattles a lot. I'm probably going to put a self-tapping screw in the rack because you can hear that. It has a little bit of like, almost feedback because the rack isn't sitting, there's a metal piece under here and the plastic rack isn't sitting all the way against it. So I'm sure it didn't come like that when it was new, but yeah, so those are basically my three complaints with this thing. Now, let's get into the things that I do like about it, right? It has excellent power. It's a 1000. It has all the power you could ever want and more. I scare myself every time I get a little crazy on it. I scare myself, and just you smash the throttle and you smile like a little child and giggle every time you ride it, just because it has all this great power. I love the adjustable power steering. You can actually adjust on this ATV how much power steering feedback that you want the ATV to give you. That's amazing. You can be in four-wheel drive just slaloming in and out of trees, and it's amazing. The turning radius is really great, and yeah, it's got excellent ground clearance. So if I have to go in a mud bog, right, I'm going to take this over a Polaris. I know you can lift the Polarises up and put bigger tires on them, and in that case they would go better than this Can Am would, but just stock, right, pound for pound, the Can Am is going to outperform a Polaris in most situations. But one situation it's not going to outperform it in is, like I said, when you have one wheel in the air in the front, because the Visco Lock, right, on this model ATV and older, it's a limited slip, so it has to spin a little bit before the other one catches, and by that time you're in a bad situation. So that bothers me. Another thing that I love about it is just the craftsmanship, right? I mean, it's used, it's a 2016, it had like 1100 hours on it, but it actually stays a lot cleaner. There's fender wells to keep mud out, as where a Polaris you don't have that, so it makes it easier to clean up, keeps everything contained, and it's just a smooth ride. I mean, I can definitely understand what all the hype is about. The craftsmanship is just amazing in it. Like the materials, you got good hard plastic. It doesn't feel flimsy like a Polaris. I've always said Polarises are cheap made from the motor up, right? Like, basically, let me rephrase that. Everything above the motor is cheap made on a Polaris, right? The motor and drivetrain on a Polaris is great. The problem is the plastics, right? They just feel cheap. They're pretty durable, but they just feel cheap and flimsy. You open the hood on a Polaris, the front hood, it kind of like, bends and flexes, and that's not the case with this ATV. So yeah, that's my honest, initial thoughts of this ATV after having it and riding it for several hours on trails. I really like the power, and I like how smooth the ride is, but it rattles a lot. It's hard to shift, and I wish I had a manual front locker and didn't have to depend on that limited slip to engage when it was already too late, right? Because I actually had to take a winch, pull myself up onto this trail that wasn't even that steep because I couldn't lock both front or rear wheels. And I have brand new swamp lights, so it's not the tires, and I wasn't giving it fast throttle. I was being very gentle, just trying to get back on the trail so we could continue. So yeah, that being said, let me know what you guys think. If you have any ideas about the hard shifting, I'll definitely listen to your advice because I'm not a Can Am guy. I guess I am now, but I don't know a whole lot about the machines. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I just noticed there wasn't a lot of videos on YouTube about this particular ATV, so I wanted to make a review to try to help some of you out. I think it's an excellent buy. I got this for like, I don't know, 8,500, and it's a 2016. It had 1,100 miles on it and like 80 hours, so I couldn't pass that deal up just because I needed power steering. Something that you don't think you need on an ATV is power steering, but it makes all the difference in the world, especially when it's in four-wheel drive. You know, you don't want both front wheels locked. That's something that bothers me on the Polaris. When both front wheels are locked, you can't turn it. So I can understand why you would want an open differential in the front, but you also should be able to lock it in, right, and get posi track. So yeah, take care guys, and until next time.